Hey everybody, welcome back to Why Not RV. On this week's episode of Solar Saturdays, we're going to go ahead and talk about batteries. Remember, if you want to learn more and make less mistakes while RVing, be sure to hit that subscribe button, drop a like and a comment down below. I appreciate it. Thanks for watching. 2 weeks ago, I talked about the panels. Then I talked about the solar charge controllers, and now we're going to talk about the batteries, because the batteries are your main power source. The solar panels just recharge your batteries. That's all the solar panels do. Solar panels go to the solar charge controller charges your batteries, and then from the batteries then is connected your inverter and everything like that, and that's what powers up the system. So your batteries are your main power source. Now, actively right now we got a clear sky, but just this morning where I'm typically charging, I have plenty of solar. I was not. It was very cloudy, it was rainy, and I think it's actually supposed to rain here in a little bit again. But those batteries are what power up your rig. The solar does not power your rig whatsoever. So don't ever think that the solar is powering your rig and the solar is what's doing everything for you. No, the solar is just a method of recharging the batteries. Now, there's three main types of batteries out there: flooded lead acid, AGM, and lithium. And let's talk just a little bit about each one, okay? The flooded lead acid is obviously the cheapest out there. You know, for one battery, you can save the most money and get a flooded lead acid battery. But their capacity is horrible. You can only discharge them to 50% at max, and even that is pushing it because they can get burned up. You have maintenance to do on them because the water that's in them, you have to be adding to it. You have to make sure that they're gassed, vented to outside, because they off-put a gas that can kill you. I mean, they're not ideal, and they're heavy as crap. Now, AGM batteries are basically, in my opinion, the same thing as a flooded lead acid in terms of like capacity and whatnot. The best thing about them is maintenance. You have no maintenance with an AGM battery in comparison to a flooded battery. AGM batteries are still just as heavy and still can only be drawn down to about 50%. And again, out of that 50%, if you're going to 50% each time, you're just shortening those cycles. And I'm going to put on here how many cycles the general consensus says across you know, the Google world of what you can get, but you can only get a few hundred, 800 or 900 cycles out of an AGM or flooded lead acid battery, and that's probably a little bit higher. The other thing to think about and consider with both AGM and flooded lead acid is their charge and discharge rates and cycles. Okay, they're nothing in comparison to lithium. I mean, just incomparable in my opinion. So if you have flooded or AGM batteries, you have to replace them after 3 or 4 years. You're only getting 50% capacity. They're so heavy. Why do people even get them? I couldn't tell you the answer. When I first started RVing, I upgraded from flooded to AGM because I saw how much capacity you can get out of them, and they had a better discharge cycle and everything like that. But when I actually broke down the numbers compared to now my lithium setup, it is just disgusting that I pretty much threw away that kind of money. Lithium batteries are just getting more and more cheap by the day. I mean, just companies upon companies upon companies are putting out different lithium batteries and just lowering the price on them, right? Because where you can get a name brand, say like a Battleborn battery, for basically around $1,000 for 100 amp hours, that seems absolutely insane. And you're like, oh well, that's why I got an AGM or a flooded lead acid. But there's companies like SOK, still an amazing company with an amazing warranty, that gets twice that capacity. So they have a 206, I think, or 208, something like that, amp hour battery for around $1,000. So right there, you're doubling your capacity for the same amount, and that's still sticking with a name brand. Aside from those, you can go on Amazon. I'll drop some links in the description below of some different types of batteries that are on Amazon. Several different companies out there that have different levels of warranties and whatnot, but they are just pennies on the dollar in comparison. You're talking like $300-400 for a 100 amp hour battery. So then those are pre-built batteries. Now what I did was totally different, custom built battery. When I say a custom built battery, no, I didn't actually build a battery by combining chemicals and encasing it and stuff like that. No, I bought raw lithium cells and I put them together and added a BMS device and built my 48 volt battery. Now I have two 48 volt batteries in parallel, totaling what would be equivalent to around 2,500 amp hours in the 12 volt setup. I have them in 48 volt setup again, but I basically just bought the raw cells online. Again, I have a video where I did this. I'll put it in the link right up here so you can see that video. But you know, they're just connected in series to 48 volt, and then I have a BMS device on them to keep them nice and safe and protected, and they're absolutely incredible. I'm gonna get probably upwards of 5,000 cycles out of them. So I mean, you know, we're talking 15, 20 years of life. You know, they could easily outlast this trailer if I take care of the batteries properly. I'm not sure. You know, my goal with this trailer is 10 years for myself to own it. After 10 years, I plan on probably selling it. Now, my battery bank is definitely overkill. Okay, I could have easily just gone with half of it, and you know, just one 48 volt setup, spent about $4,000, and had around 1,250 amp hours of lithium. All day long would have been more than enough for any normal RVer, but I'm not a normal RVer. People constantly ask me about my battery bank and why it's so big, and how long can I last off grid and stuff like that. And I'll tell you, on this trip, I've only plugged into the grid one time, and it was because we had some nasty storms for 2 days in a row and we were in a warm environment. Okay, the batteries will typically last me 48 hours of normal use. Okay, now 48 hours of normal use, I'm talking about some normal temperatures. We're gonna have highs in the 80s or 90s, and you know, the air conditioning has to run, using my washer dryer when needed, the water heater's on 24/7, all that stuff. Now I can be super conservative, and these batteries could last me freaking 2 weeks, you know, without a single charge on them if I was really conservative. If I was in an area where I didn't need air conditioning, I just had vent fans on or windows open, stuff like that, I could probably last a very, very long time. But when I say 2 days, it's because I'm talking about full air conditioning, washer dryer use, water heater use on electric, all that type of stuff. Now, the big difference between myself and any normal RVer, and why I have this huge massive battery bank and this huge massive array of solar, is because of my job. I'm a catastrophe insurance adjuster, and the goal with this RV was to be able to be off grid at a catastrophe without having to go to a campground, because when I go to work, typically that first week, 2 weeks, even 3 weeks, there's no power at the campgrounds. So people are out at the campgrounds running generators. People that just lost their house are now in their camper, or they might have rented or bought a camper, and they're in the campgrounds. And I'm trying to do as minimal of an impact on the community as I can. So having my rig set up the way I have it, I can go park in a church parking lot, Family Dollar parking lot, anything. All these businesses are shut down anyways. I can just talk to the owners and get a spot to just park. And my only limitation at that point is water. When I park in those areas and I can be completely off grid, you know, having my solar just ripping on nice bright sunny days, I can be air conditioning, I can be doing my laundry, I can be working and all that stuff all comfortably. And that's why I built this RV the way I built it, was to be able to be in, say, southern Louisiana in August, you know, where it's 95, 98 degrees with freaking 80, 90% humidity. And not only survive, but be comfortable, because when we're working 14, 15 hours a day, the last thing you want to do is be uncomfortable that whole time. You want to be nice and comfortable, nice and cozy, and that's why I built this way. This is by no means any type of system that you should build or anyone out there should really ever have to buid. I got a little off track there talking about why I have my lithium. Let's get back to talking about lithium in and of itself. So again, where AGM and flooded lead acid can only be discharged 50%, lithium can go all the way down to technically 0%, you know, but I discharge mine to around 5%, and I also only have my voltages set a little bit lower to not overcharge them all the time. Because I have such a big bank, I don't need to be maximizing each and every little watt hour I can possibly get out of it. So when you're saving on weight by a quarter of the amount, you can discharge fully down to 0. Why do people go with flooded lead acid and AGM? I don't understand it. I'm gonna put some links in the description below to where you can buy some really nice lithium stuff straight from Amazon. I'm also gonna put a link to where I bought my batteries, and you can build your own batteries. And to me, they're a USA-based distributor. They have great, amazing prices. Yes, there's always cheaper stuff out there. It's just hard to find and hard to have in stock. So link in the description below is where I got my stuff from, and it just could not be better. I'll even put a coupon code down there. I can't remember what they gave me. I think it's $50 off for people, so make sure you use that coupon code to get $50 off. That's it for this week's episode of Solar Saturdays. I hope you guys learned something. Please drop a comment below. Let me know what you thought. Let me know what you want to see in some future videos. Thanks for watching Why Not RV. We'll see you next time. Bye.